I'm not going to comment on it.
You got to pick one.
I'm not going to. I don't have to pick one.
He doesn't, Ryan, doesn't he got to pick one?
I said the same thing. I'm not commenting on it.
Okay, why? Do you think it's a circus, or do you respect it as a good fight?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank, it's over with.
Is the burnt bridge with my brother unfixable?
I don't hate your brother. You guys need to fight guys you're f***ing same.
Max Kellerman has voiced his frustration over the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis clash, questioning whether it truly belongs in the conversation of elite boxing. Meanwhile, legend Roy Jones Jr. didn't hold back either, mocking the idea outright. Jones explained that he only respects exhibitions when they feel real, competitive, and rooted in skill. In his eyes, this fight doesn't check those boxes, making it more spectacle than substance.
I'm interested in exhibitions that make sense. Now, to Tank's credit, I'm interested in the Tank Jake Paul exhibition because I know for a fact that if they do it for real, Tank is capable, although he's small, he's capable of knocking Jake Paul out, just like Jake Paul probably capable of knocking him out because he's so much bigger.
So you believe that?
I believe
no
that
doubt about it.
Without a question, if they fight for real. If they don't, if they say, no, well, we're going to take care of Jake, just want him to go through and learn more, then he might not knock him out. You understand me? But if they do it for real, Tank is highly capable of taking Jake Paul.
Moreover, Sean Porter didn't mince words. He said Jake Paul versus Tank Davis makes no sense at all, pointing to the glaring size difference. For Porter, this isn't a legacy fight. It's a generational money grab, a reflection of how today's fighters sometimes chase paydays instead of cementing lasting achievements.
A lot of ways it doesn't make sense to me. Of course, we know the size differential, and the list goes on from there. I don't know, man. I think we're entering we're entering a generation now, or a phase now where fighters, I don't know if it's fighters, I don't know if he doesn't care about the legacy, or if he feels like this fight doesn't matter, I'll get back to the legacy. I just don't know. This is truly not, it's not a legacy fight, but of course it is a generational money fight.
However, Max Kellerman refused to pick a side between Tank Davis and Jake Paul. To him, the whole thing felt less like a fight and more like a circus. Still, he admitted one thing. Jake Paul is a genius at building spectacles people feel compelled to watch, even if they swear they don't want to.
Charismatic, good-looking guys together. Max, one question. Tank Davis, Jake Paul, who you got?
I'm not going to comment on it.
You got to pick one.
I'm not going to. I don't have to pick one.
He doesn't, Ryan, doesn't he got to pick one?
I said the same thing. I'm not commenting on it.
Okay, why? Do you think it's a circus, or do you respect it as a good fight?
Jake Paul is very good at creating events that whatever you want. Well, the reason you get mad is because you're being manipulated.
Oh.
Because you know when the time comes, you're going to have to watch it.
Right.
He's like a genius at that. He makes events that you have to watch.
Right.
Even if you don't want it.
Furthermore, Terrence Crawford dismissed Jake Paul versus Tank Davis as anything but a real fight. He argued that Jake's sheer size would be too much to overcome. If Paul lands even one clean shot, Crawford believes Tank wouldn't be able to withstand it, especially since just getting past Jake's jab would already be a major struggle.
Paul versus Tank Davis, they just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank, it's over.
Eddie Hearn explained that his priority remains delivering on what was agreed for Shakur Stevenson, but admitted uncertainty about what comes next. With Tank Davis now locked in to face Jake Paul in November, Hearn noted that only after that spectacle could a potential fight with Shakur be revisited.
I will have to come up with something for Shakur Stevenson. If I don't, that may be the end. It's got to work for me as well as Shakur. Maybe I haven't got anything for him. Maybe he hasn't got anything for me. But right now I know what we agreed with His Excellency, and that's what we'll do for now, and then see where we go.
I know you said you wanted to make that Tank fight, so hopefully we can see that in the future. Eddie?
Jake Paul, isn't he? So He's got. I don't know whether he'll fight. What's the rematch?
Lamont Roach.
I don't know if he'll still fight Lamont Roach. I know he's fighting Jake Paul in November, and then maybe Shakur after that.
Thank you, Eddie.
KSI brushed off the hype around Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, bluntly saying he doesn't care about it. And that, in his opinion, nobody else really does either.
Paul versus Gervonta Davis.
Oh, I don't care. I don't think anyone cares, man. No one cares. No one cares.
Jeff Mayweather weighed in on the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup, saying the fight makes little sense given the extreme size difference. Jake coming in over 200 pounds, while Tank is closer to 147 or 150. Still, Jeff admitted that as an exhibition, can be tolerated because of the big name appeal.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank, and I mean, but with it being a exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine. He got a big name that he's going to be fighting, but I mean, it really makes no sense because he's going to be weighing over 200 and some pounds. Tank's going to probably be weighing maybe at the most 147, 150. So I don't even understand why the fight is happening.
UFC President Dana White addressed Logan Paul directly, saying he doesn't hate his brother, but believes both Paul brothers should fight opponents their own size. He reminded Logan that Jake was massive compared to Floyd Mayweather and pointed out, Tank Davis hits harder than Floyd, but he's far too small. Dana explained that Jake's size, weight, and ability to clinch would neutralize Tank's power. For the same reason, he added, he would never allow a Conor McGregor fight, since Conor is also much smaller.
Is the burnt bridge with my brother unfixable?
I don't hate your brother. You guys need to fight guys your same size. When you fought Floyd, you are massive. He did hit you with a fucking bomb, and you fucking ate it. He's gonna fight Gervonta Davis.
Who do you got?
Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than Floyd, but he's too small. Your brother's gonna be able to get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up.
I hear your critique on fighting guys the same size as you. Is that why you guys wouldn't let me fight Conor?
Yeah, you're fucking huge. Conor weighs 145 pounds, 155 pounds.
Yeah, but he says he...
Famous UFC fighter Nate Diaz dismissed the idea of Tank Davis fighting Jake Paul, saying Tank is simply too small, which makes the matchup pointless. Still, he admitted that people will watch it regardless. Diaz added that boxing is starting to look more like WWE with these types of spectacles, but at the very least, it gives fans something to talk about.
I gotta ask you, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't gonna be.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think.
He's just too small.
It's just. I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that. There's no point in the fight. It's a great fight, actually.
You think
I'm
it's
not
a good
hating
fight?
on the fight, but I think. My thoughts on it is let's watch it, see what happens.
Ryan Garcia said that boxing is turning into WWE.
Yeah,
with that type of matchup. You agree? Last thing, White House card, like he said, you want Conor McGregor?
Yeah, but the whole thing's on WWE, so
right.
It's like, at least that's happening and it's getting something to talk about, something to watch, and I'm looking forward to that fight.
UFC fighter and analyst Michael Bisping weighed in, pointing out that Jake Paul came in at 227 pounds against Mike Tyson, nearly a 100-pound difference compared to Tank Davis. He called the matchup insane and said it's nothing more than bullying rather than a fair fight.
I think when he weighed in for Mike Tyson was 227 pounds. That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference. Almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. That is called one thing. That's called being...
UFC fighter and analyst Chael Sonnen took aim at the matchup, saying Tank Davis can't even sell a fight in his own division. He criticized the Paul brothers for constantly chasing bigger opponents instead of proving themselves with skill. Sonnen added that blaming size instead of focusing on ability shows a lack of true boxing understanding and preparation.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're gonna do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're gonna spot us some pounds. Tank has one job to do, that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skill, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. No, it turns out that you don't. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Tank Davis has already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum.
Mike Perry pointed out that Jake Paul is simply much bigger. While Tank Davis has undeniable skill, Perry questioned whether Tank still has the drive or love for boxing to overcome an opponent who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates on the fight game.
He is big. Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.